Well, good afternoon. It is my privilege and honor to be sitting here with Lea and Anita today. I get to introduce them to you if you haven't already met them, and many of you probably have. They are Garden Schwartz and Rowe. They are two people I met in Santa Fe a year and a half ago. At the encouragement of Antimo, I went to a conference in Santa Fe and sat with these beautiful women for 3 days in their class. And we have remained friends ever since and connected ever since. And I could not be more excited that the two of you will be in Lecce, Italy for the Global Cultural Labs event in June. So before we go down the road of what you're going to be talking about in Lecce, tell us about who you are. Why do you do what you do?
Well, we're excited to see you again and work with you. We loved it, the experience in Santa Fe, and we are looking forward to seeing you and working with you again in Italy in June. Lea and I have been doing this work around diversity and inclusion for 40 years. We love it. It's our passion. We write about it. We teach about it. We work with organizations to help them create environments where people can really thrive. And that's just, it's bedrock value for us. But it was our colleague Jorge Chebosque who came to us with the idea of combining emotional intelligence with diversity. And it was like just like a blinding glimpse of the obvious, like OMG moment. Yes, it makes so much sense.
And I think what really is important to me, and I think probably to Anita as well, we were classroom teachers before we became business partners. And we helped LA Unified through some mandatory integration training, which led to a whole new field of work. And we ended up 40 years ago in the field of cultural understanding, diversity and inclusion. And it was a wonderful way to understand that if you are open and if you keep learning, you can end up someplace that you never thought you might be. So this is one of the things I think that's great about the class we're teaching. People will learn so much about themselves, hopefully be more open to all kinds of opportunities for them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, what was fantastic about meeting both of you in a workshop environment, I didn't really know what to expect. I joked with you, both of you, that I was kind of the outsider at your presentation in Santa Fe. But I felt immediately connected with you and with the people in the class. It was really beautiful. But what came through so clearly to me, and sometimes coming from the private sector, you're a bit of a skeptic of some of the academic environments where some of this material is presented, because to me, theories are great, but until they're put into practice in the real world of the boardroom or the classroom or the organizational infrastructure, they're just theories. I think part of what made your workshop so powerful for me is the way the two of you have taken real life practical experiences and poured them into the things that you share, the things that you teach. Tell me just briefly about your backgrounds. I know you both hold PhDs. Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit about that kind of resume stuff, and then how long the two of you have literally been partnered working together in this passion.
Well, we got our doctorates in human behavior. And we have always been educators, and we found out from this project we worked on that we both really liked working with people who wanted to find a way to connect and be included, but weren't. We just had that in us. And so over time, we got involved in this project, and that's what it's all about, is helping people find out who they are, what their connection is.
Beautiful.
Yeah, we started our business. Our official beginning of Garden Schwartz and Rowe was in 1980. So it was exactly 40 years ago. Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, listen, so let's talk about Lecce. We're going to be together in Lecce. There's going to be some amazing presenters, mm-hmm. but two of those presenters are going to be named Lea and Anita. And I would like the two of you to share a little bit about, if I'm coming to Lecce, Italy, and I'm sitting in your classroom or your workshop for a few days, tell me what it's going to be about. Tell me who this is for. Who are you wanting to talk to in your time in Lecce with what the material you're going to present?
Our session really is for, I mean, it sounds crazy, but it's for everybody and anybody. But it's particularly for anyone who really wants to know more about how can I be more effective in life, and how can I help my organization, my work group be more effective. What we know about emotions is that emotions are part of everything. They're part of every interaction. We know that emotions drive behavior, and behavior drives performance.
And they don't lie, by the way. Emotions don't lie.
And unless we can capture the power of them, because emotions underlie motivation and excitement and enthusiasm and creativity and all of the things that we love, joy, what we love about work that is fulfilling to us. they're also part of what makes things difficult and frustrating when we work with people who are different from us. And we have emotional reactions to differences. We're not neutral. They're exciting and interesting, and we move toward them because we're curious. They're also frustrating and irritating when people don't do things our way.
The feedback we get most often is that the session is transformational. People learn things about themselves that they never thought about. They are asked questions about themselves that they hadn't considered. We have people, because we work in organizations all over, and people will say to us, wow, I'm getting things for my family, not just for my work group or my teams or you have no idea how I'm using this at home. So I think it's very practical information and makes people feel better.
And the tools that
if I may, I want to make sure that we speak to this, because this was one of my things as a private sector person participating in the Santa Fe conference. I believe, Anita, you said emotion drives behavior and behavior drives performance. This isn't all just woo-woo. This is all just feel good. Wouldn't it be like kumbaya if we held hands and cared more about each other? This is stuff that really delivers actual bottom line results in performance.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I mean, we know that when people become disengaged, we know what happens. Organizations are spending millions of dollars every year to increase engagement. What's engagement if it isn't about an emotional connection to the people and that you work with and the work that you do? So it's, how do you build on that? How do you create environments where people can freely engage? And what we do is not just talk about concepts, but give real tools and strategies and approaches. And people experience in the session the power of these, so that then they see, oh my God, it did it for me in 3 days in this class. What could I do when I go back to my organization, to my family, to my community, and use these same approaches and same skills and tools? So it's intensely practical. It's also intensely fun.
And Lee, you use the word transformation, which happens to be one of the 5 pillars that we created for Cultural Global Labs. And I kind of want to emphasize that a little bit. The first pillar for CGL is vulnerability, and I know we talked about that a lot in Santa Fe in your workshop. Number 2 is stories and the power of story in people's lives. The third is connectedness, which is one of my huge, huge important words. And the fourth is transformation, which was the word you just shared, Lee. And then the final 5th one is growth, and I think they flow naturally, but transformation is so critically important, and I know it's essential to the work that you guys do. It's got to produce. It's got to make a difference.
I mean, our class is kind of tailor-made for those 5 pillars, because you learn the power of vulnerability and the power that is there in terms of making emotional connections and empathy when we are real with one another and when we allow ourselves to be vulnerable. We do storytelling. It's a way for us to connect. I mean, so much of what you're talking about is a part of the methodology of building emotional intelligence. And I think a lot of times people think you have to be born with emotional intelligence. It's like IQ, that you either have it or you don't. It isn't. Some people it's easier for than others, yes. But there are specific skills here, and there are specific behaviors that you can learn to do that help you increase your ability and develop yourself in emotional intelligence.
We worked with one organization of executives in a financial institute, and they went through the training, and they ended up having an experience where they had to talk with one of their buddies about their whole history, who they were, all kinds of very personal things. And we were a little bit worried about it. At the end of this, they loved it so much, they said, we're going to tell our CEO that he has to take all of us to dinner one night, and we all get to share our stories at dinner.
Oh, wow.
But it's so rare in the workplace that we share on this kind of level.
Yeah.
You know, we often have people say, I've worked next to somebody for 11 years, and I learned more in the last 15 minutes than I did in the 11 years I worked with that person.
It is rare, but it's ironic too, because it's one of the reasons people leave organizations or companies, because they don't feel connected. They don't feel a sense of being a part of a greater whole. They don't feel like the organization really cares, that they matter.
Yes.
And a lot of it has to do with not really having clear, specific job descriptions and all that. But on the feeling valued level, people leave companies or organizations because they don't feel connected.
Exactly. And how much more we give and how much more we get when we are connected with one another. It's such a huge payoff for us.
Yeah. Well, I can honestly say that what made my time with the two of you in your workshop in Santa Fe so meaningful was the fact that you are so congruent. Who you are comes shining through in what you do. And I can encourage anyone watching this video, if you come to Lecce and you sit in a workshop with these two amazing women, you will see that immediately. There is absolute congruency. This is their heartbeat. This isn't just a thing they do to make a living. This is their heartbeat, and this is what they do. So with that being said, let me ask you both, what do you want? You've been doing this for 40 years, although it's hard to imagine because you both have the energy and enthusiasm of like you just started doing this. But what's the impact you want to have on the world around you? What do you want people to leave Lecce with when they participated in your workshop, and the impact you want to have on the world?
I would like people to have a much clearer sense of who they are and to know what changes their mood and their emotions. I would like people to have more kindness. I mean, that's one of my favorite words, but I really mean it. So if we can have some integrity, some kindness, some connection, some understanding ourselves, that would be absolutely fantastic, because they could take that to their organizations and use it.
And I want people to understand that, like us, they're on a process of continuous improvement, and that we're never there, but we continue to work on it, and that we accept ourselves as imperfect beings that can keep getting better. Doesn't mean I say, okay, I'm imperfect, but that I want to work on being better, and that we give other people that same leeway, that we can be empathetic toward that other person, that we don't have to assume malintent, that we can approach one another like we're all on the same team. Yeah. We're all trying to help one another, as opposed to we're out there to get somebody or judge them or blame them. And that's how you create relationships that work. That's how you create organizations that work.
That's powerful. I've often said that it's got to be right here. I've got to accept myself. I've got to forgive myself. I've got to give grace to myself. I've got to give empathy and understanding to myself. And if I can do that, then I'm much more likely to give it to the world around me. If I can do it here, then I'm probably going to be better at doing it here. And that came through powerfully and beautifully in my time with you in Santa Fe, and I'm sure it will as well in Lecce. Any parting comments for people that are considering coming to this event in June in Lecce, Italy, which I have been to, and I can tell you it is an extraordinarily beautiful place, a wonderful hotel and facility, and of course Antimo and the work that he's done in preparing for this. This will be an event from an experience standpoint, this will be magnificent. From a content standpoint, I already know with you and some of the other speakers we have, it's going to be extraordinary. Any parting comments that you all have in anticipation of this great event?
I'm so excited because I know Antimo is a host par excellence. And so I know the experience will be off the charts in terms of what we're experiencing, what we're eating, what we're seeing, what we're doing. But the other piece that's so exciting is that we're going to be living and breathing what we're talking about. It is a cultural lab. So we're going to we're the experiment ourselves. We're part of it, being in a mix of people from all over the world in a place where most of us don't live, and really having that experience on so many levels.
And I think no matter how high your expectations are about what's going to come out of it and how you're going to enjoy it, it's going to be even more than you imagine. I'm so
perfectly stated, Lea. I think that's absolutely perfectly stated. Well, I'm excited to see both of you. It's June 15th through the 19th. I strongly encourage anyone that's going to register for the conference to stay a little bit extra or come a little bit early because it's a breathtakingly beautiful place. We're in Lecce, Italy, a town that was kind of built on the Baroque theme. You'll find magnificent architecture, great food, a little bit of wine, and the hotel that is hosting the event, the President Hotel, is outstanding. I've actually been there myself, and it's magnificent. So thank you so much for your time. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it, and I can't tell you how much I'm looking forward to seeing you again in Lecce, if not before.
Oh, we are too.
Absolutely. We miss you.
Thank you both.
Ciao. Ciao.
Ciao.